Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Sacramento City College Entrepreneur Panel. On behalf of the president of this organization, Dr. Catherine Jeffrey, and particularly on behalf of the business department, we are ecstatic that you're here. We have an outstanding panel for you today, and this panel is all about students and answering students' questions about being an entrepreneur. Everybody has a dream, and most often tied to that dream is I want to be my own boss. And you know, in this particular environment, the time is really right. But you know, you can only learn so much from the classroom, and you can only learn so much by hearing from people who think they want to do it. So today we've brought you 5 people who are out there making it happen. Let me get on with it by introducing our panelists. To my immediate right here is Jamie Silva. Jamie owns the Sandwich Spot, which is about a mile and a half from the main campus. It is a trendy deli. Next to Jamie is Sharon Boatwright. Sharon is one of the leading real estate agents in this community, and she also does catering and event planning. So welcome, Jamie and Sharon. And then we have Melanie Dovalina. Melanie is an independent publisher, has published 2 books at least that I know of for the faculty here within the business department, and so we have a special welcome for Melanie. And then we have next to Melanie, Carla Prayer. Carla owns the Inner Beauty Hair Salon in Rancho Cordova, and she's bringing those insights. And last and certainly not least,
glad you said that.
We have the most special male entrepreneur in Sacramento, Mr. Dwayne Jackson, who owns Jackson Sports Academy on Walnut Avenue in Sacramento. I should tell you who I am. My name is Deborah Crumpton. I have the honor of teaching within the business division here at Sacramento City College. And so now on with the panel. Before, though, I get started, I want to remind students, both in the studio and wherever you are listening, that this is your panel. So please start to formulate your questions right now. If you've come in already with questions, there's someone in your room who will take your questions. Just jot them down, hold your hand up, and that person will pick up your questions and feed them to me. Let me start the panel by asking each of the panelists, starting with Dwayne, to just introduce a little bit about their business. Tell us a little bit about your business and who you cater to.
Glad to. Again, welcome. I appreciate being asked here. It's wonderful. My business is called Jackson Sports Academy. It's a 70,000 square foot indoor gym, if you will. I have 12 courts that can be interchanged from volleyball to basketball, indoor soccer. We also do indoor tennis. I cater to primarily students from pre-K through 12th grade. We can get into the real reasons why I do that. It's a lot easier to market to those people. And then I noticed there's some questions talking about the economy, and we can get into that. But that's primarily my business. 70,000 square feet. If you guys think of a Home Depot, Home Depots are usually 100,000 square feet. So you subtract 30 from that, and you can see how large the facility is. It's pretty large. The Targets are probably the size of my building.
Wow, great.
Okay.
Thank you. Carla?
Hi, my name is Carla Prayer. I'm Inner Beauty Hair Design. I've been in business for about 17 years now. I had another salon and I closed that, so my place is a little more intimate than my friend here. I cater to everyone that is in need of hair care services, going from anywhere from relaxers to highlighting, women with alopecia that needs hair prostheses. What I do is like to provide a service for women that have issues and, you know, self-esteem issues. So when you come to my place, it's intimate and private, so you can have these services done. I've been in business, like I said, 17 years, looking to expand to a larger place, and that is it. Inner Beauty Hair Design.
Great, Carla. Thank you. Melanie?
Hi, I'm Melanie Dovalina, and I'm the owner of NorCal Publishing Services. I'm located here in Sacramento, but I have production facilities throughout Northern California. I primarily work with training organizations and educational organizations in preparing their materials for, obviously, training and education. I work with independent authors who are trying to self-publish and market through channels such as Amazon, independent bookstores, and things like that. I've been in this industry about 10 years, and I went independent about 7 years ago, and have just slowly been building my relationships ever since, and so far it's working out pretty well.
That's great. Thank you. Sharon?
Good afternoon. My name is Sharon Boatwright, and I am a full-service real estate agent in Sacramento. And my business is with Remax Gold as my broker. And my business is basically to help people educate about the real estate market the word real estate kind of says it all in itself these days. But I sell residential and I sell commercial real estate as well.
Okay, great. Jamie?
I'm Jamie Silva, and I own the Sandwich Spot Land Park, which I recognize a lot of faces here. I've seen a lot of you in there. We're actually just 1 block north of here, and we've been open for 2 years. My sister and I are partners and run the place together, and we have great food. That's what we do.
That's great. Well, I have the first question already from a student. The student would like to know, what's the toughest part about being an entrepreneur? Carla, what's the toughest part?
I would say the toughest part, making tough decisions. Sometimes you're not always sure what decisions to make. You have to be disciplined. You know, you can't be everybody's friend.
So how do you make tough decisions?
I pray about it. I talk to my business coach,
Business coach.
and a couple of trusted colleagues in my dream team.
Dream team. Okay.
Dream team.
Melanie, what's the toughest part for you?
You know, I really enjoy it. I wouldn't say there's a really tough part. I think the toughest part for me is if I had to work a 9 to 5. That would be really hard. But
So now you work a 9 to midnight.
yeah, right. I do. I
know your
probably
toughest
average 60 hours a week. So don't think that being your own boss is this. You know, you're always on the golf course, because that's really not true.
So maybe the hours might be.
No, I would say the
challenging part?
toughest part is probably just the fluctuations in the economy, and your income isn't going to be stable. And so you have to be able to withstand fluctuations in your income, be able to plan for high tides and low tides, and manage all of that with having obligations like mortgages and children and things like
so
that. So you have a
fluctuations in
lot of
income.
pressure to keep it stable, even in the backstory. It's not really.
Yeah.
So that's a hard thing to manage sometimes.
Okay. Dwayne? Toughest part?
Toughest part for me is separating emotion from business. You have to make business decisions, and a lot of times when you start a new business, you have a lot of your friends that are involved. Hey, Dwayne, it's great. I'll pay you next week for whatever quarter, whatever the rental that they're doing. I can't do that. And what happens is they never pay you. And so your business decisions have to be made without emotion. And that's, I've got to tell you, it's ongoing with my business that I have to do that. Especially when since I cater to kids, my toughest part is when a parent comes and says, we can't afford it. I can't give my business away. And it's hard to say with that little teary-eyed kid, sorry, you can't play here.
Yeah.
Very, very tough.
All right.
But we have to do it because I can't fill the place with non-paying people, or I'll be looking for a job.
Yeah.
Very tough.
Jamie? Toughest part about being an entrepreneur?
The toughest part for me is balancing work and home life. And
You have a home life?
I have a home life. I've had to work very hard at it. I have 3 children, and I could be at the shop all day, every day of the week, if I didn't find the balance between family and having a life. I mean,
How did
it's
you
work.
find the balance? How would you tell aspiring entrepreneurs to find that balance?
Well, what I did is I created a really great team. My sister and I work
Great
really,
team.
really well together, and we train our people to handle things when we're not there.
So great team, great training.
Great.
Absolutely.
Great.
Yep.
What's the toughest part for you, Sharon? Toughest part of being an entrepreneur?
You know, I'm going to have to piggyback on her about balance, being
Okay.
a wife, being a mother, and being an entrepreneur and having my own business. I need to balance that, but if you don't balance it and take care of one side, which is the family and the personal side, it will offset into your business side. So you really want to keep
Isn't that
that
true?
very, very balanced.
Absolutely.
Okay. There's a question about age. You can relax. This is what they want to know, not how old you are. But at what age does this entrepreneurial kind of fuel start to really come to fire in
That's a
your life
great
that you
question.
always knew you really want to have your own business? What about for you, Jamie?
You know, I've always known.
Always known.
I got my first job when I was 14 years old, and I have worked in a variety of careers. However, I always knew that I was going to be happiest if I owned my own business. So before I started the Sandwich Spot, I had my own home-based business for 7 years, and that went really well for me for a while. But I knew from a young age.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sharon?
I always knew as well from a young age of putting on plays and tents in the backyard of my girlfriend's house or doing lemonade stands outside. I always liked to sell. And so I always knew I needed to sell something that I loved, I knew about, and then it had to be mine. And so that was something that I always did.
Melanie?
For me, it was more of an adaptation to my professional and career life anyway. I know I'd graduated from high school and went to college like you all are, and graduated and started working, 9-to-5 jobs. And at that time, I was in the legal industry. And I've always had the mind where I think I see something and then I learn it, and then I think how much better you can make it, how much better the system could be, how much better a product could be. And so once I learned that industry, I actually had a different company before this one. And I started that one when I was 25 and managed that company. It was a legal organization called the Small Claims Specialists. And we did that until I was 30. And so it wasn't that I ever dreamed as a kid, I'm going to be my own business owner. It was just as life channels you in certain directions, if you see something, then you might as well try it. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, you try something else.
So it sounds like you're a person willing to take risks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because that's how I kind of look at things. I don't think everything really hinges on one decision for the whole life. It's a small progression.
And
so
you can change your mind is what I'm hearing.
You can change your mind. You can adapt. You can try it, not try it. If it works, it doesn't work. It's not the end of the world. You just go do something else then,
Right.
So it's kind of have a loose attitude about it and just adapt to where your road goes,
Right. Carla, what age for you did this entrepreneurial dream start to take hold or set fire?
For me, I as well has started out as a child. My mom was a stylist, so at age 13, I was in her salon. She wasn't feeling well, and I would pick up where she left off at. So I started very early. As soon as I got my license, I worked up under some awesome hairstylists in the beginning in Indianapolis. They showed me everything I needed to know, and I've taken it from there. But it's just something that's always been in my family and in my blood, so I knew at a very early age.
I'm almost scared to ask Dwayne.
I started when they slapped us behind.
I see, I knew that.
Let me tell you something. I came out screaming about how come it's so cold in this hospital, so we need some heat. I swear, I don't think I've ever not wanted to be my own boss.
Yeah.
And I've known Deborah for a number of years, and she's seen many businesses that I've owned, started, closed. And every step of the way, you learn something. Yeah. Every step of the way, you learn.
It's a journey, isn't it?
It's an absolute journey. You mentioned that if you're going this way, trust me, there's going to be something that's going to grab you to go a different direction, and that's okay. Don't think that that's the only way to get to where you're going, because you're going to find out things when you're going down this journey that is going to be awesome.
So everyone recognizes that they like to have this business, but everyone knows that, without a customer, there is no business. So how do you get customers? How have you built your clientele? Melanie?
Well, in this particular company that I have now, I started in the industry again as a sales rep. It was a brand new industry for me. And then, of course, I learned the industry and then went independent, like I always do. Cut out my employer and start my own business. So, but since then, I brought some customers with me that I had obtained while I was employed. And then I don't market. It's all referral. I handpick every one of my customers. So one thing you should understand is that it's okay to say no. And if someone wants you to do something for them, you don't have to do it. You do not have to do it because
so you have a selective process.
Absolutely, and so mine is all referral, and I hand select everybody.
All right, Carla, how do you build your clientele? What's your number one marketing tool?
My number one marketing tool is word of mouth. If you give excellent service with your heart in it, they know it. It's a saying that people may not remember what you said, what you did, but they always remember how you made them feel. So with that, when you come to my salon, I give them top line service. So that's mainly it, and I also do, Facebooking and Twitter and all that, but the main thing is word of mouth.
Okay. Sharon?
I am a full referral realtor.
Referrals.
So how I get my clients
But
is
how did you get started initially, right? Because you had to get started initially to get to a referral. How did you get started initially?
How I got started in real estate is I came to Sac City College, and I took my principal course here.
Oh, so did you say Sacramento City College?
Sacramento
Okay, I just wanted to make
College.
sure. Okay.
And I was really blessed and was introduced to the real estate internship program that was here. And so I did a semester underneath another well-producing realtor in Sacramento underneath the internship program. So I really was able to see the life of a real estate agent, because sometimes it looks very glamorous, looks like we make so much money, but there's a lot of work that goes into going into the most intimate private lives of a home. And so it was really important for us to understand that our clients needed to be taken care of. So love is in the details, and that's understanding your client.
So
and
you guys start with an
understanding the
internship and then now referrals.
Correct.
Okay. Jamie?
Well, our business, I would say location is the key to a business like mine.
Yes.
When we opened, a lot of people told me that I couldn't rely on the college, but that turned out to be very wrong, and a huge percentage of my business is college students. And I think that it's convenient for them to get in the door. Now, keeping them as customers is all about the customer service. I am really great at remembering names, remembering orders, saying hi to you when you walk in the door. And then from that point on, it's word of mouth. They go out and they go, wow, this lady remembered me and I've only been in there one time. So our customer service is key, and I train my employees to do the same. So
Great. Dwayne, how did you get your clientele, and what marketing tool do you use most often?
Coming from an owner of a marketing company, that's one of the things that it's pretty high on my list. Everybody that came in here got one of my cards on their seat. I tell anybody and everybody who and what I do. Everything I wear is logoed. You should see my car. You should see my house. I have, you see yard signs that I put out through all the schools, because that's where my target is, are schools. I have them on my yard, in my own area. And the reason I do that is because it may not be that I'm target marketing those people, but somebody knows somebody. Somebody has kids. And since I cater to pre-K through 12th grade, my target market is those kids. And, of course, the parents. The thing about it is I'm lucky. I'm kind of going to go into another aspect of this, and that is the economy. The economy being bad is good to me, good for my business. The reason being is the high schools and the junior high schools and the elementary schools are doing away with all these sports programs, all their art programs, all the programs that we as...
So you look at the opportunity that the economy has given you.
That's not when I opened, I didn't see that.
Right, but it's happened.
Definitely on top. I've had superintendents viewing my facility and coming into agreements with them because they cannot afford to give the sports programs that the schools once did. So all of a sudden it opened up a huge, which was not in my first model, huge opportunity for my business.
So you always have to be kind of looking at the
Always.
economy and saying, what opportunity is it presenting me? Not only what threat,
Absolutely.
for lack of a better word, is it presenting, but what opportunity and how can I take it
And the
position my business?
thing about that, Deborah, is the economy when it's bad is when most of the businesses that are done correctly survive and strive. The ones that fall apart probably didn't have a foundation of success anyway.
Well, that's an interesting point. What would you say? I'm going to ask every panel to come up with just one word. If you were building the foundation of success for your business, what one
word?
brick? Yeah, just one. We'll see how many 5 bricks we get here. What one word would be on your brick? Understand there'd be more to the foundation, but what you say, I'd have to have this brick as part of my foundation. Sharon?
Risk.
Risk. Jamie?
trust.
Trust. Melanie?
Integrity.
Integrity. And
Ooh,
Carla?
that's a good one.
Love.
Love. Dwayne?
Timing.
Timing. See? Okay. See, we can do that with one word.
That's good.
Has anybody on the panel ever had the opportunity to get, or maybe I should say the good fortune, to get a business loan? So now you have, as Dwayne recovers himself, why would you laugh about that?
Because there's no loans out there. I don't care what kind of credit you have.
What?
It ain't going to happen.
Tell us why it's not going to happen.
Because the economy itself has, you guys have seen the fall of the real estate, and that's where your loans are based. It's based on real estate. You can have an 800 plus, and you go into Wells Fargo and they'll look at you. It was difficult to get a merchant as far as credit cards and accepting credit cards for businesses. They look at you like, no, we don't want to touch you. Unless you have a lot of equity, business loans aren't something that you go in because you have a great idea. get that out of your mind right now.
Well, that's the current situation. Sorry to interrupt. But, 8 years ago, 7 years ago, business loans and lines of credit weren't that difficult.
It's correct.
And so
That's because credit
she
was
asked
more
if you-
available
if
7, 8
if
years
we've
ago.
ever gotten a business
If you've
loan.
ever gotten. Have you been able to get one, Melanie?
Well, yeah, I try to stay away from that.
Why do you try to stay away
as
from
much
that?
as possible? Well, I mean, if you need it for startup or payroll or overflow, but you should be able to manage your cash. And if your
So
clients,
managing cash flows, cash coming in, cash coming out, is something
right,
that you have to be able to do
should
from
be able
the
to
beginning.
manage that pretty easily. And then, as long as your clients are paying you on time and you don't have a lot of problems, that's one of the reasons why I do handpick my clients as well. So as long as you're able to keep the money running, you won't need it unless there's some expansion issues or there's some equipment you need to buy.
Okay,
or,
so you haven't had to do that.
but there's lines of credit and
Yes.
things like that you can use that are available.
Okay.
But
Anybody else have any experience with getting a business loan?
I got a business loan, and not that I actually really needed it, but I thought it would be good to add to my financial portfolio. And I got the business loan, and I paid it off in less than half the amount of time. So that just built up my portfolio, and ever since then, they see my credit history, and people are constantly trying to give me credit. So if it's needed, I have it.
She
So it's
said
part of the
something very
financial
important.
brick in your foundation for your company was getting that loan.
And the SBA has really wonderful opportunities for startup business, very low interest, that aren't that difficult to get. These SBA loans,
Okay.
So there's money available if you know how to manage it.
I think that she made a good point, and that is she didn't need it when she got it. If you need it, that's when you won't get it. It's just been
That's been your
it's a
experience.
catch-22.
Yeah.
It's when you don't need it, you're able to get it, and that's very smart. When you get into that situation, get them while you don't need them, because then that will build up your credit. That will give you something in your
It's
portfolio.
like getting friends. It's like
Exactly.
building relationships, right?
Absolutely.
You start to build relationships all the time.
When you need it, it's
Yeah.
it's going to be very difficult
Jamie?
to get.
Well, the other thing I have to add to that is you can't, in my experience, if you need $100,000 to start up your business, you need to have some money saved as well. They're not going to hand you $100,000 if you don't have a penny to your name. You need to have $30,000 or $40,000 in order to go out and have some money too. They want to see your stake in your business.
Okay. Sharon, did you have anything to add to that about the business loan?
Again, being an independent contractor, being in real estate, we have brokers, and so a lot of that is done through negotiations with your broker on those type of business expenses that
Okay.
you might have to do to start your business.
Okay. What about, I'd like to move to talk about business plans a little bit. Anybody not have one? Okay, good. So, tell me a little bit about your business plan. Can you talk to how you developed it? If you found that to be a challenge in developing it, if you find it to be an ongoing thing, or once you did it, it was set in stone. Could you talk a little bit about your business, if not necessarily the plan, about the planning of your business?
Okay.
Go ahead, Dwayne.
The first thing that I looked at is do the math. A lot of people bank on the come. So next month I know I'm going to get this much in, and that doesn't happen. So therefore it throws off everything that you tried to plan. You do the math. You have to do everything you can as far as your due diligence. With me, of a large building, there were permit issues. There were build-out issues. I opened my business with $300, okay, and we'll make probably a little over $1 million this year. With $300, only because we did the math. Whatever was going to come in that we knew was going to come in, not that we banked on coming in, made it grow.
So when you say do the math, you mean have a good understanding, a good handle on your revenue, the monies that's coming in, as well as the expenses, your obligations that you have to make?
Absolutely. And cash flow was mentioned earlier. Cash flow is key. You can't pay out something if something's not coming in. And sometimes you have to make arrangements, SMUD, PG&E. My SMUD bill is well over $2,600 a month. If I don't have a relationship with SMUD, and let's say they want it on this day, or it's going to be this much more in fees because of the percentage of being late, the late fee, all you have to do is call them and say, look, instead of that late fee, I'll pay it in 4 or 5 days. These things you learn. But if you pay that off and then you have an employee that needs to be paid, what are you going to do? So you have to know that what you're getting in and what is paid out on a monthly basis throughout the year makes sense.
Okay, so your
Do the
business
math.
planning is based on doing the math.
Do the math.
Jamie?
Well, when we opened our business, I got into a situation where the business plan was kind of laid out for me.
Yes.
Our structure was that there was a man who came in and helped me open my business. That being said, there were so many bumps in the road that I didn't expect and that I had to account for. And even ongoingly, the plan is cash flow is key all the time. The plan to stay on top of what my customers want, what they're telling me, what they're communicating to me, and plan accordingly.
Cash flow.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Sharon, for business planning purposes? Did you have a formal business plan, or how do you do it?
We do have a formal business plan. I do have a partner of 15 years as well.
Okay.
So, you know, business plan, but as we all know how real estate has been in this economy, it's really hard to tell you what happened 12 months ago, what I'm going to do for my next 12 months. So, but we do know some systems that are in place that we can plan
Yes.
for, that we know that will allow us to be able to stay on top of our game and keep our business plan flowing
Okay,
fluently.
good. What about you, Carla? Did you talk about your business plan or business planning?
Actually, for myself, being a hairdresser for over 30 years, I've already had a clientele, and I was working in a salon, and she decided, the owner, she said, I'm done. I'm out. Goodbye. It's yours. So I was kind of thrown into that business at that moment. It was like I had to figure out right then, and since then I have been creating my business plan ever since. I've always been pretty good with money and managing and timing of the money. I've always been good with that and making sure I kept ahead. So once I reopened and brought in my employee, I was able to do that. But just staying on top of things is huge. Staying disciplined, you know, and just staying abreast of what's going on in the economy. That is huge.
Melanie?
That's it.
No, I didn't really have much of a plan. I know I shouldn't say that, but
No,
I'm a little loose, I guess, as far
More
as
spontaneous?
more spontaneous, more adaptable. You know, I'll try something and I'll get an idea and follow through on it. And so, this particular company, I was employed, and in my industry, not any one house has all the equipment you need to manufacture. We're actually a manufacturing industry. So to manufacture a book or the pieces of data publication or packaging, DVDs, things like that. We have a guy that does one part, another part, you know, and it's spread out all over. So what I was doing was I was working for a New York publishing house, and I had a network along the whole West Coast. And though they're paying me a base salary and a company car and, you know, all this stuff. And I'm selling to the house on a network that we weren't actually producing anything anyway because our facilities were in New York. So, you know, again, I'm in the industry, and I'm like, why am I selling to this house when I'm the one with the network and the relationships? These are all my clients anyway.
So your plan became kind
So
of
my
organic.
plan was to cut out the house and go independent and keep all
Got
the
it.
money.
Got
So
it.
Plan.
that's my plan, and so that's what I've been doing for the last 7 years.
Okay. Let me ask you, you've all been in business now for a while. If you were to start, let's say somebody gave you a do-over. Right? And what one thing that you know now would you incorporate first and foremost into that do-over? Like if I had to do it all over again, I would definitely do this. Carla?
I would definitely start out with a business plan.
Start out with a business
Start out with the business plan.
Okay.
It would have made it much easier than what it was. I mean, I was fortunate to have somewhat of a business sense to be able to do that. And just knowing more of what it took to handle each industry aspect of the business. But that would be definitely one of the business
Okay.
plan.
So a do-over. Jamie?
I would educate myself more around different government fees and tax structures.
Okay, the legal side and government side.
There was permits and licenses and ongoing yearly fees that kind of came out of left field for me, and I would plan better for that.
Okay. Sharon, you have a do-over. What would you do differently?
I probably would just do, if I could, and as I said again, with real estate changing so much yearly and monthly, a 5-year strategic business plan.
5-year strategic business plan. We've heard that twice now. Okay. Melanie?
What would I do over? I would probably, I wish I had the confidence now that I had in the beginning, is what it really is, as far as just selling. And then again, it's so important to be able to tell people no.
So it sounds like you would trust yourself more.
No, I would.
No?
What I would do is in the beginning, you just want to sell and be so successful that you say yes to everything.
Oh, you say, okay. So you'd say no more often?
I would say no more often earlier on, absolutely.
Okay.
That's cute.
Dwayne?
I think that in my business, if I had a do-over, the first thing after getting a business license is that I would have gotten a nonprofit status. I have actually two businesses. One is my for-profit, which is Jackson Sports Academy. The other is Jackson School for Athletes. That's a nonprofit, and it's amazing how much grant money, federal money, things that you don't have to pay back, that is out there. And basically how it works is the little kid that can't afford, or his family can't afford a certain program, fills out an application. My profit side, which has golf tournaments to fund it, different things to fund that, then pays for that. Well, it's basically this bank that I have my nonprofit status at pays this bank that I have my for-profit, and who's the winner? The little
So
kid.
you'd start your nonprofit so you could service
Absolutely
more
start it
clients.
out because I can service more, and it also gives me access to money
Okay.
and dollars that I would not have.
Okay.
And that
good.
I would start that right off the bat.
All right.
Because
Our audience wants to know what keeps each one of you motivated. And, well, I'm going to ask a two-part question. They want to know two things about you relatively intimately. What keeps you motivated, and tell us how you got over that initial fear. There's a perception that there was some fear going to be an entrepreneur. How'd you get over the fear?
Still there.
Maybe keep moving through the fear now, and how do you stay motivated? Sharon?
Wow, that's a big question. The motivation is to be successful. I think if you're going to be an entrepreneur, the ultimate goal is to be successful. Now, is success only money? You know, is it prosperity? Is it wealth? Is it family? So I think my motivation is my family. I want my family to be successful. I want my business to be successful. So if I can balance that and make that a whole for me, then that makes me motivated.
What about
to do
fear?
it.
How do you move through fear? Is that a reality for you, fear?
Not with my personality, it's not. No.
Okay. Okay.
You know, I'm scared sometimes, but I'm not fearful much.
Difference between being scared and fearful.
Yes, there is.
Got that. Jamie? What keeps you motivated?
What keeps me motivated is my customers and my staff. We have so much fun at work. We have a fun environment when you come in there, and it's motivating for me every day just to get up and get in there. And I grew up in this neighborhood. I grew up 5 minutes from where I own the shop. I went to high school at McClatchy. I came to City College. I see people in that shop that knew my parents when they were in high school. Wow. So we have a little family over there. It's not, and that's what I wanted. I'll be very clear about that. I wanted my shop to be in a place where I had roots. We have pictures on the walls of my great grandparents, you know, in this neighborhood. So it's motivating for me to be able to provide not only good food and good service, but like a little piece of my life. I get to share myself.
What about fear? How do you handle? Do you get fearful sometime? And if so, how do you move through that?
I get fearful, but I have the personality as well. When I was starting my business, it was like, I'm going for it, and you can't hold me back. I was like a steamroller, and I had funding, and I lost my funding. I had over $100,000, and I lost it. And somehow I scratched my way to get that money to start my business.
Did it make you stronger having lost it, or did it make you more persevere even more having lost it and having scratched your back?
Absolutely. I was devastated when I lost it. I didn't know what I was going to do, and it just lit a fire under me that had me just go for it. And I did. Within a month, I had all that money again. But the thing that moves me through fear is my faith. The opposite of fear is faith, and that's what gets me through it every time.
Some of that confidence that Melanie was talking about. Yeah. Melanie, what motivates you, and what, if you get fearful at times, what moves you through that? How do you handle that?
What motivates me is my son. You know, I have to provide for him. I'm a single parent, so I have to kind of hold it all together. And my customers have come to, or my clients really have come to really depend on me. So I wouldn't, they motivate me to continue to do a good job for them. As far as fear goes, it's the same, and if I were to give you any advice about starting your own business, it would be to know yourself. And if you're the type of person who likes policy and structure and know what to expect every day, then you like that comfort in that sort of system, then you're not going to do well in an entrepreneurial environment. If you don't like to be told what to do, if you like to do your own thing and think out of the box and run your own program, and you're not afraid to fail, then this is the sort of thing that you'd probably want to be doing. I don't get fearful. I get nervous sometimes, but again, a lot of it has to do with faith, and I always believe everything will be okay.
Yes.
So if I have to go get a job or do some more marketing,
It's not the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world.
Right, you just reinvent something
money
else.
comes and money goes, and
Yes.
it just is all liquid. So you might as well get used to it.
Yeah. Thank you. Carla, what motivates you, and how do you move through fear if you have some?
Motivation, I guess it's a two-part for me. One, being able to make my clients look and feel better. A lot of times, like I said, I do, prostheses. And you have clients, the self-esteem is very low. So, if they having balding issues, I'm able to apply and help that, and it just really boosts their ego. Another thing is when my clients come in, they talk about how they feel when they come in there. I had a lady, she was telling me that she was having a horrible day, and she was at home. And she said she thought about her inner beauty family, and it just lifted her spirits.
Wow.
That's quite a compliment. You're not even in the business, and are
I'm hoping
feeling
my
better
students
just
say
by
that
thinking
about me. They think about that business class, they run into it.
I'm sure they do, Deborah.
You think so?
Absolutely.
I hear you. I'm going to take that
If
with me.
not, give them an F.
I give them an F for fun.
As far as the fear, I do have some anxiety, but tell me no, I'm powering through that. You can't tell me no. I'm going for what I know.
I hear a lot of entrepreneurs say no is just on the road to another yes.
Yes.
Right? You have to get so many no's to get a yes. It's a mathematical kind of equation, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Dwayne, what motivates you, and how do you move through fear?
Mine's pretty easy, and it's kind of like hers. Since we deal with kids in sports, children in sports, there's nothing, when you sit back, and you have to understand my business, there could be 2,000 people in my building, and they're all playing a sport. When you see a small child or a young kid or even a teenager make a basket or slam a ball down, and then they look over at their grandparents or parents and they get that's such a great job.
Yeah.
And then to see that through, a lot of them get scholarships. And if they don't get scholarships, you see them coaching and carrying on and moving it forward. There's nothing like that. There's absolutely nothing like that, because you have affected in a positive way someone's life, a family's life.
Okay.
As far as fears go, anytime I wake up in the morning, if there's something that I'm needing to take care of, because everybody has bad things, if you want to look at it that way, take care of them right away. Just make that phone call that you don't want to make. Get it off your plate, because it's going to affect your whole day if you don't take care of those things. And
So handle your fears right just straight on.
Problems come up, and we all will have them.
Yeah.
If you lose $100,000, or if you do, take care of it right away, because you don't want to hold that back from your dream. And like you said, no is not an option. Not an option. I was hit. I'm going to tell you this. I was hit with I opened up. You're mentioning the fees. I did my due diligence on when you're going through, you do your due diligence on your business license, this license, planning department, all that. I did all that. 2 months after I opened up, they came to me and says, well, you have to get another license that costs $25,000. I go, what? No. Then what happens is the building permit came in, and I have it in a frame, hit me with a $182,000 fine.
So how'd you move through that?
I cried.
And then?
And then said, you know what? This can't be right. I did my due diligence.
So you get to feel your feelings, and then you get to get over it, and then you figure it out.
That
and you move through it.
$182,000 fine because of your relationships with the county. I went to the county supervisor, and that actually was whittled down to $2,300.
Okay.
I
That
couldn't
moves me
write
to my
that
next
check
question.
fast
That's a
enough.
perfect. You talk about with the relationship with this particular person. So there's some questions about what kind of degrees do you need? What type of skill sets do you think all entrepreneurs need? If each one of you, back to this building block kind of thing I got going on here, if each one of you could think of one skill or one skill set that you think every entrepreneur needs, no matter what business he or she may start, what would that skill be? What would, if you think it's a degree, what would that degree be? Okay. What do you think, Melanie? What would it be?
Self-discipline.
Okay, every entrepreneur needs self-discipline.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Sharon?
Positive attitude.
Positive attitude. Jamie?
Outstanding customer service.
Carla?
Persistence.
Okay. And Dwayne?
Wow, relationships.
Okay, now I want to drill it down a little bit because I'm looking for some hard skill. Like, for example, and I don't want to prime the pump, but what I'm looking at is, marketing, accounting, understanding government regulations, writing skills. Is there any one skill like that you think is most important, or do you think that entrepreneurs should have a business degree?
I have something to say about that.
Okay.
I don't have a college degree, and all of those things you mentioned are very important. But I think for me, I am great working with people. I'm great at customer service, great at customer relationships. All those other things I've learned along the way. All the taxes, the government fees, even self-discipline, marketing, all of those things I have learned through experience. And I'm not saying I would love to go back and get a business degree. I would love to finish that out, but that's not the direction my life took me in.
Yes.
And I knew that I had the fire within me to make my business successful, and all the technical stuff has come. It's worked itself out. And if I don't know how to do it, I hire somebody that does.
There it is, right there.
Oh.
There it is, right there.
Yeah.
Hire
So
someone.
you hire
There it is.
hire that strength or that talent or that skill set that you need.
Absolutely.
Or
So you have to
beg-
have some cash to do that.
Or you beg them.
Or you beg.
Or you beg them. There
Or
are a
you
lot
make
of
a
people
really
out there.
good friend.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's not necessary that you have to
trade.
put money out for those people because, believe it or not, they're around.
Absolutely.
I didn't know about social networking because of my age. All I knew is there was a texting going on, but there are people out there that can set that up for you, and it's something you absolutely need in this day.
Okay. Seems like a lot of you would concur with this. You hired out. Is that what you would do, Sharon?
Definitely. You want, on your dream team, as you stated, you want the best around you. Any great leader has great people around them. But one of the skills I believe that you need to use in even everyday life, but I find so strong, is negotiations. You need to know how to negotiate anything. So when somebody does tell you no, you will turn it into a yes.
All right. Melanie, you have anything to add to that?
What was that again? I got sidetracked in my mind.
The question was, what skill or attribute, I wanted to make it more tangible. What skill, maybe it might be a degree, maybe it might be a field like accounting or marketing.
Okay, I was piggybacking on what he was saying as far as if you hire someone out or it's kind of old school. We're going back to a bartering system almost now in this
So
economy.
you would find somebody with that talent or that skill set that you needed?
Well, if I did need something like that, those fundamental kind of nuts and bolts skills that she's talking about can be learned, or someone has learned them. So I think a successful entrepreneur, it really has to do with attitude, and all of the other things can, like we said, either be learned or hired. But I was taking it one step further on this bartering system. So if you have a skill set, or a product, so we're talking about either a service or an actual product, then someone needs that, someone else needs this and whatnot, and especially in this economy, what people are doing now is they're actually going back to a system where money's not a part of it.
Right, you need some other kind of currency, bartering
Right,
what you
your
have that I can
currency
use.
is what you have to
Okay.
offer, and the skill set could be a many different things. Like you might trade out, your hair service for
Right,
someone who's
right.
going to print her some marketing flyers.
Okay,
Or something.
all right. So, let's move on then. Let's turn the tables, look a little bit at technology. What about a website? How many of you, can you talk a little bit about whether or not you have a website? And if you do have a website, do you also use social media and how you might use that? Dwayne?
I absolutely could not have my business without a website.
Because
of the target market that I have. Everybody has a cell phone. Everybody has a computer. And back in the day, you used to put things in the mail and send it off with a stamp. You don't do that anymore.
Do you maintain your website yourself?
I do not. There's no way. I can answer emails. That's about it.
Okay.
I have
so
a
so
web-
you
I
recognize
have-
that that's a limit that you have
And,
as far as
and
competition.
that's a
Hire
very
somebody.
key thing, because as an entrepreneur, you want to think that you can do everything. And delegation is what you really need to be thinking about. Because there's no way that you can grow your business if you're working in your business instead of on your business. And working on your business means you've got to hire people that have the skills that are much better. And recognize that. I know where my shortfalls are. I'm a big picture guy. But when it comes to those minor details that absolutely you have to do, because the attention's in the detail, I can't do it. Because
So you
I'm too
rely on your
busy.
website and you rely on somebody else to do it.
And they do a fabulous job. They're my third person. And each step of the way, the person that I started out with got me to a certain level or got the business to a certain level and realized that they now have to go and get somebody else to bring it to another level. The person that I have doing it now, and everybody can go to the website, is fabulous.
All right.
Absolutely
Go check out your
amazing.
website. Carla, you have a website? Do you maintain it yourself?
I do have a website. No, I do not maintain myself. It's been definitely prosperous for my business because, you know, styles and times change. So people need to be able to go in and check out what we're doing, you know, what's the latest, you know, if our salon is a fit for that individual. So yes, I do. And no, I'm not the most technical person. So, and you know, again, I talk about the dream team. It's about surrounding yourself with people that make you look good. And I definitely have that.
Okay. Melanie, website? Do you maintain it?
Yeah, I have two. One for NorCal Publishing Services, and then one for the publishing group that I'm just starting for Sacramento City College. And I do maintain those. I don't. The Panther group is just for marketing to get the word out.
Okay.
But it's not as much of an e-commerce type site or anything
I
like
see.
that.
Okay.
The other one is just an informational piece as well because I don't market to the general public.
Oh, okay.
I'm not interested in everybody's business. I just, like I said, I'm wanting
It's
to
your target
handpick.
market.
Yes, that's what I handpick and
Yes.
referrals only.
Right.
So I don't need to market in that way where a traditional business may want to do that because they're marketing for the general public.
Okay.
And so that's not who I'm looking for.
Sharon, website? Do you maintain it?
Definitely, I have a website, a blog,
A website and a blog or a website?
social media.
Okay.
You know, it's your electronic business card, and it's very important, especially in this real estate business, that people to contact you very quickly.
Do you maintain it yourself?
That would be no.
You know, it's important as entrepreneurs that we know our limitations, right?
Yeah.
You can't be everything to everybody, and you're not the whole thing in a package.
Yeah.
Right? Jamie?
We have a website that's under construction right now, but we have had one the whole
Okay.
time.
All right.
I don't maintain it. I actually did trade with a student here at school who's developing the website for us, but Facebook, we're huge on Facebook. And I do coupons on Facebook, and we send out, you know, our specials, new sandwiches. And it's super fun. I take pictures of my customers that come in. They go on Facebook, and I'm still trying to get my 15-year-old daughter to teach me how to Twitter, but Facebook is a good outlet for us.
Okay, well, everybody takes a breather. Carla, somebody wants to know, do you do internships?
Yes, I do. Actually, I have some in there with me right now. And then after she completes it, you know, because it's an intimate salon, so I do one at a time. So yes,
Very selective.
very selective.
High standard of excellence.
Most definitely.
All right, I heard that. The next question speaks to use of professional services, like a CPA, a lawyer. Do any of you rely on use of professional services like that? Jamie, do you?
Yeah, absolutely. I have an accountant. I have an attorney. I use a janitorial service once a month. I have a business consultant. Yes.
Yes.
I use all of those.
Sharon?
As well as I use banks, I use mortgage brokers, but I use variety of attorneys.
Variety of
I
attorneys.
use variety of attorneys.
And these are
because my
people you have
clients
developed
need-
relationships with?
Definitely. Any referral that I have, that means I have a relationship with that person that I'm giving to my client. I want to be a one-stop shopping for my client's concierge. That's what I want to be.
Got it. Melanie, do you use professional services like a CPA, a lawyer,
An accountant and attorneys
accountant, attorney?
for contracts and things like that.
All right. Carla?
Yes, I have janitorial. I have accountant. I also have business coach. I also have a tax person. I keep those separate so they can balance out each other between the accountant and my tax person. So I have a graphic designer. You know, like I said, I have a team of people
That whole team.
that makes me
Goes
look
back
good.
to the team. I got you.
It does. Yeah.
Dwayne?
All the above.
All of the above.
Janitor, with 70,000 square feet, absolutely. I'm not sweeping. And the thing is, it's not that I don't want to sweep. It's when I'm sweeping, and here's the key. if I'm worth to the business $100 an hour and I'm sweeping, I should be paying someone $9 an hour to do that. And that's real hard to imagine, but and it's hard to think of that. But if I'm sweeping and I'm worth $100 an hour, why am I doing that?
Yeah.
And so,
So
I
you have to get yourself to the
have
point
to
as
get
an
it.
entrepreneur where you're using your best skill.
Absolutely.
And using your time most
And
wisely.
focus on what you're doing. And I will walk in there even though I see something. Here's a kid that's interesting. Here, if I see one of the trash cans overflowing, as a business owner, I go, ugh, I don't like that. What I don't want to do is go and grab that trash can and pull it out. Because then what I'm doing is I'm training my janitor that he doesn't have to do that. Because he knows that if it gets full and Dwayne walks by, he's going to do it.
Yeah. So entrepreneurs, I tell entrepreneurs all the time, you have to do what only you can do. What only you can do.
It's hard to learn that.
Yeah. So let me ask you a little bit about competition. Right? You're all small business owners. I mean, there are other people doing what you do. How does competition affect you, and how do you stay on top of your game? How do you do that? How does competition affect you? How do you stay on top of your game, Carla?
Competition motivates me. You know, it's a healthy motivation. You know, so, and how I stay on top of the game, I go to hair shows, I read the style magazines, you know, I keep up in the business industry what's going on. But the competition, I love it. I love it.
So bring it on, is that what you're saying?
Bring it.
Bring it on. Jamie?
You know, I've always had the theory that competition breeds business, and in the food industry, if you have a lot of food in one area, that's just more people that are going to be coming into your area and might eat at your shop. And for example, when Chipotle went in, I was fearful about having the competition in walking distance, but it didn't affect my business at all. The same people that were coming to me continued coming to me, and there was like enough people to go around.
So how do you stay on top of your game?
I keep providing an excellent product to everyone, and
Because nobody's going to eat with bad food.
No, exactly.
Even if they like you.
Exactly, yeah. And it kind of all goes into the customer service as well. Even if I do make a mistake on, say, Jen's sandwich over there, the next time she comes in, you know, she's going to get a free cookie and a really great sandwich. But I listen to my customers, and we're always creating something new.
Okay. Sharon?
Daily, I'm on an interview. My clients interview me every single day. So I have to keep very motivated. I have to keep on top of the trends. I have to keep on top of real estate. I have to know what's going on in the community.
But how do you compete? I mean, there's all kinds of realtors out there. You look at what other realtors might be doing. How do you look at that competition? Do you say that's something that I need to be better than? How does it affect you?
I have the attitude, what's for me is for me, and nobody can take that away.
So there's enough to go
if I
around
put
out
my
there.
A game on and
Yes.
I go out there and I interview and I give you my best, that's what I'm going to give you. And so I'm hoping that, you know, I'm going to get hired for the job.
Got it. Melanie?
Well, it's just the same as what everyone always said. You know, competition is healthy.
It's healthy.
It
You
keeps
look
you on
at
your
healthy.
toes. And what they do to me, I do to them. It's all goes back and forth, you know. So it's a game.
It is a game.
It's a game, and you got to be prepared for that. And you know, if someone takes a client or comes and underbids me or something like that, then you know.
It's a game in terms of wins and losses, right? I mean, in that sense.
Right.
Right.
And then, you know, and my industry is relatively small, so we all kind of know the same players. And, you know, the market in my industry, it's, you know, like paper is traded on the commodities market, so the market fluctuates every day in pricing and things. And so you have to keep, you know, your pricing is going to vary almost day to day, and you just have to be aware of those sorts of market trends and know your competition, though. Know
your competition.
Because I
Like,
know
know
this
Chipotle's
guy's going to
coming
come in at this price because,
Right.
you know, he's,
So you got to know your competition.
Absolutely.
so
You
can
need
be
to know who they are, and then you know if you're who up you're going against, then you
Okay,
always
good.
know, well, I got 15% on
Yeah.
him. He always bids high. And so, you know, it's always, it's just the game.
All right. Dwayne?
I go under the idea that I don't want a piece of the pie. I want to bake my own. And in looking at that, there's always going to be competition, but what you do is you educate yourself on that and then come up with something that they haven't thought of yet. I don't want to be a follower,
Right.
because in following, that means I'm looking at somebody's butt, and I don't want to do that. I want to be a leader, and in doing that, you create things that they haven't even thought of. You're again, working on your business creates that time that you can do that.
True.
Yeah, there's basketball, but there's not basketball with something yet. And I don't know what that something is until I get into that. And once I do that,
let's change the direction a little bit, and let's talk about your role as an entrepreneur in the community. So the question is, what do you think the role is of an entrepreneur in a community? Do you think there's a special role, particularly for a small business owner, in that community that he or she serves? Melanie, what do you think?
Well, I think we are a part of the community in the sense that if we provide products and services that the community would need, or we're satisfying that, as well as the fact that we do hire. Small businesses are the backbone of this country. And
So you're providing jobs, in other words.
providing jobs, providing
Creating
services,
revenue.
creating revenue, but we're also doing it on a personal level. And so, it's since the dawn of time, man has been providing a service to his neighbor, and that's what we do.
All right. Dwayne?
I totally agree with that. I have a lot of independent contractors, probably about 75 that I use. But my biggest thing is, and I didn't realize this, and I'm glad you brought that up, the service in the community, when we went in, I didn't realize there's an El Pollo Loco, a Der Wiener Schnitzel, they call them Wiener Schnitzels now, and a Chipotle, McDonald's, all around, even Target. I had no idea until after the end of about a year and a half, that those owners came to me and said, our business has increased because of you, 65% for El Pollo Loco.
So your customers are coming in or also become customers for other
Absolutely.
businesses in your community.
And I'm telling you right now, Wiener Schnitzel, when I had to get this, I had to go through the council, the supervisors to get a certain permit. The owner came and says, I was getting ready to close my business, but now I'm able to make my bills.
So it became a revenue stream.
Absolutely, and I didn't realize that. You don't realize that, of the effect that you have in a positive way for the people that are around you.
All right. Carla? You got anything to add to that?
Again, in my case, because it's a personal touch. So, when people coming in, a lot of times I like to give back, giving, and helping people. A lot of times they're going through, especially with this recession, a lot of people without jobs. So, a lot of times, if I know you're going in for an interview, I'll donate, a hair service to you, help you with your need, give you some tips on finding a job.
Great.
That's huge.
Yeah. Jamie?
I'm very involved in the community around here. I'm involved in Little League, a lot of the elementary schools, and one of the best things for me is I can really give back. I donate a lot to the schools and to different organizations around here, and it's really, really great that my business is in a place where we can give back to our community. It's very cool.
Great. I want to ask you, as we start to bring this to a close, to for a moment think about what you would say to aspiring entrepreneurs who are hearing this right now and those who will hear it in the future. If you had to offer them one sentence of advice, that is not what you have already said, but one sentence of advice. Maybe it's something that someone had said to you at the very beginning, or something you've heard recently, or something that's made all the difference that's going to help you take your business to the next level. What would be that one sentence of advice that you would offer that aspiring entrepreneur? Dwayne, go ahead. You look like you're pregnant with it.
I want to explode.
I can see that you're pregnant with the idea. Go ahead.
The baby's coming out.
I see you pregnant with it.
The closest ones to you will be the ones that will take you down.
Okay. Let's put a period on that.
Okay.
Carla?
I'll have to go to the scripture. It's better to give than to receive. When you give, it comes back triple-fold.
Okay. Melanie?
I know I already said it, but I mean, it really is the number one,
Go ahead.
which is to know yourself.
To know yourself.
Know yourself.
Sharon?
And I'm going to piggyback on yours, and that's to believe in yourself.
Okay. Jamie?
Do what you love and don't let anyone stop you.
All right. And the one word that would be the most pleasant thing about being an entrepreneur, go. One word.
Freedom.
Carla?
Again, love.
Okay, Melanie?
Independence.
Sharon?
Flexibility.
And Jamie?
Fun.
You know what? You all
Awesome.
have been fabulous. You have been fun and loving and giving and generous and inspiring. And on behalf of Sacramento City College, our president, Dr. Catherine Jeffrey, and particularly the business department, I want to thank you all for your time. I'd ask the studio audience to thank this panel for their time and to tell them how much we appreciate it. Can we have a round of applause for our panel?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.